Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at one of my resumes from the past and kind of just going through it, seeing what could be improved, what are some good things. This is a resume that basically helped me get a job in Silicon Valley in 2018. Like I mentioned before on this channel, I spent a year there working as an intern, and this is the resume that got me the interview, right? And that eventually helped me land the internship and achieve one of my goals of working in the U.S., especially in Silicon Valley. And so I figured we could go through this resume and kind of analyze it together. I would kind of look at a couple of things that I would do differently. I already see a ton of stuff that I would remove right off the bat. But anyways, I figure it's a good exercise and a good thing to do to keep a good habit of updating your resume and making sure that it's as good as it possibly can be. And so if you're new to the channel, my name is John Vine. What we do here is we talk about software engineering, and I try to use my experience to help you guys become software engineers yourselves, whether you're a student or you're already in the workplace trying to switch careers. And if you like the content, feel free to hit like and subscribe. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. So like I said before, guys, this resume was written at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, and so it's around 2 years old at this point. But at the time, I was entering my last year of university, and I was looking for an internship, and I was applying to a ton of places. And yeah, this is the resume I used. So right off the bat, you can see, I have my name and 3B computer science. So what the 3B means is that I was in my second term of my third year. So it's 8 terms, right? 4-year program, 8 terms, and your first year is 1A and 1B. And your second term is 2A, 2B with the summer. And so your third term, 3A, 3B. And so, yeah, and the next would have been 4A, 4B, whatever. So I was just writing the year I was in here in these, I guess, I don't know what color this is, maroon, little squares. What I've just done is removed, here I had my phone number, email, and address, and here I just have the cities and company names that I worked at. And so I just removed those things, guys. You're not missing anything important, but I had these 3 cool little squares. I don't know why I had those, but, added a bit of color, I guess. You do have to make your resume stand out a bit, so I don't know what I was doing with that, though. I'll definitely change that, and I've never include these squares again. But, yeah, let's get into the meat of the resume. And so right off the bat, summary of qualifications. Now, if I had to make a resume today, and my resume today doesn't even have this, I would remove this, right? I think there's no reason to add this little summary, especially with what I had in there. Experience working both independently and with a team. Obviously you have that experience, right? Like everyone needs to have experience. 3 years experience completing projects using functional, imperative, and object-oriented paradigms. That's all the paradigms there are. So I could have just said coding. Comfortable using Windows, OS X, Linux. Again, not that big of a deal. Like, I don't think that's worthy of adding that on a resume. Fluent in French and Russian, I would leave that. Just because it's an interesting fact about me. I know French and Russian, and I just think that if you have anything that separates yourself from the rest and that is kind of unique about you, I think you should definitely include it on your resume anywhere. It kind of just separates you and is an interesting thing to know that, gives you a personality, not just, you're not just a resume. It helps them build a picture of you, right? So you do want them to do that and to kind of remember you in any way. And so I'd leave kind of French and Russian. Self-motivated, driven. Yeah, like these last 2 points, guys, I'm basically stroking my new ego, excited to push the boundaries of software development. I don't know. I feel like I had nothing really to add. And so I kind of filled it in with all this garbage recently. But yeah, like I said before, I would probably remove this summary of qualifications. And looking at the resume, it doesn't look like I had any side projects on there, so I'd definitely put side projects in here instead, or another bit of experience, right? But I don't really see the value of this summary, because unless you can add something that's valuable in here, then maybe it's useful. But for me, looking at this resume, nothing here is useful except maybe this French and Russian. Right, the rest is just kind of BS, so I would kind of remove it, replace it with some side projects. Hey guys, I just wanted to mention, if you want a great resume template, feel free to check out the link in my description below for great computer science resume template kits. These are some resume kits that have been proven to help people get interviews at FANG companies, at big companies like Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, good stuff like that. And if you use my code JohnVine, there's 20% off. And so yeah, feel free to check it out. It's a pretty good list. It's a pretty good couple of resume kits that'll help you build a good resume. And there's also a couple of stuff in there, resources for doing interviews at big FANG companies, what kind of questions they ask, and all that kind of cool stuff. So yeah, feel free to check it out in the description below. That's what I would do. So moving to the next part of the resume, I have languages, I have skills, and then languages: C#, C++, JavaScript, R, SQL. I don't know why R is there. I'm not really good at R. Maybe I don't know why I added that, but I would remove R. And then the rest, I think it's important to know the languages that someone knows. Now, what I would change is I would remove these technologies, right? I don't like seeing a list like this because anyone can just list out anything, right? What I've kind of learned through interviewing people and hiring people in the past couple of years is that you don't just want to list out these languages and technologies, right? You want to give context to them. So what I would change here is I would leave the languages like this, and then technologies I would kind of throw these into the descriptions of my experience and kind of give context to the experience, right? So somewhere I would be like, I'd probably remove Git, but I'd be like, developed a reusable framework, React, Redux, plug them in there. And I already did a bit Webpack. But yeah, I just don't like seeing long lists like this because it just kind of overwhelming, and it just sounds like to a recruiter, like if I put myself in the shoes of a recruiter, I'd be like, okay, this person's just listing off things so that our filter doesn't filter them out, right? One of the things that I've heard, I don't know if it's true, but some companies filter out resumes because they get so many applicants. So they filter them out if they don't find certain keywords in it, right? So if you wanted a full stack developer, you wanted them to know React. So every resume that didn't have React would kind of get thrown in the garbage before someone even looks at it. So I don't know if there's a lot of truth to that, probably for bigger companies. And so you do want to have these words in there. But explain them using the context. Don't just list them out. I really hate seeing things like this, and I know I'm looking at my own resume, but I don't like this listing out stuff. So yeah, like if I look at this first, let's move on to experience. If I look at this first kind of blurb, I think it looks pretty good. Honestly, constructed a powerful front-end architecture involving React, Redux, ES6. I'm giving context, what I did, and yeah, so I think this is pretty good, and using these technologies, right? So I have React, Redux here. I don't need them here, so I would remove them here. Developed a reusable UI framework to support a large-scale web application using &design, Webpack. Implemented chart controls in the back end for user query tracking. So guys, I think it's okay, like what I did here, these little bullet points. But what I wanna add is that you really want to give like I said before, you want to give context to everything you did. So a good way to do that is to use action words, right? So I constructed, I developed, I implemented, so I'm doing that. But you want to give some numbers kind of to back up the results of what you built. So here, what I would probably do is constructed a powerful and efficient front-end architecture, right? For a web app, and then I would probably add like for a web app used by 10,000 users, right? You want to give some context, or, implemented chart controls in the backend for user query tracking. So to track, thousands and thousands of requests per day, maybe like give a number to that, maybe give 15,000 requests per day. What you want to do is give specific numbers so that the person reading this kind of gets the idea of what effect it had, right? How many people used it? How many times was it used? You want to add these kind of numbers. And looking at my resume here, I'm kind of missing all of that everywhere. So it's definitely something I would add to improve, right? You don't just want to explain what you did, but you also want to explain and give context so that they totally understand what you did, right? Here in the second one, I have planned, tested, implemented internal web apps using JavaScript, jQuery, PHP. Cool. Like, what was my role, right? Did I lead the team? How many people used it? Was it like how long it took? Stuff like that really helps. And I just have no information. Like, for all I know, I could have implemented these web apps, but no one used them. So if you tell people how many people used it or how many requests it was taking in, just something to give more context, I think that really helps. And worked as part of a team to deliver high quality applications on a tight schedule. I mean, something like this is probably trained users to use the new apps. Yeah, so here these last two are kind of filler. I would kind of probably remove that now. I just don't like having filler. If you don't have much to say what you want to say and then leave the rest, and then kind of elaborate on other areas where you can actually give valuable information. I don't like, maybe I did this in the past, but I don't like just using filler like this. It doesn't really tell much. Trained users to use new applications. Okay, I guess, I don't know. Maybe it shows them that you can train people, but other than that, I don't think this is really valuable. So guys, what makes how to explain your experience, in my opinion, as someone who's hired people before, I would put in, exactly what you did, and give context, as much context as you can. So did you lead the team? Were you just part of the team? How many people used it? Maybe how much money it saved, right? If you developed an application that, reduce server costs because you're doing something more efficiently, then that, include that. Be like, I saved the company $50,000 a month on server costs. Like stuff like that, and the effects that it has are just as important as writing what you did. So if you write it without context, it doesn't mean as much. And I think it will, you know, decrease your chances of getting the interview. So yeah, I would do that, guys. I would include as much context as I can. And now here, education, candidate for Bachelor of Computer. Yeah, this is kind of like just, you know, I was in computer science, minoring in French at the University of Waterloo. September 2014 to present, which was 2018. So yeah, I just had that in there. I don't know about education. Education's weird because the more time that's gone by since you graduated, the less it matters, right? So at a certain point, no one really cares about your education if you're like in the workforce for a long time. But maybe for a couple of years since you graduated, maybe it does matter. So I think for me, you know, I graduated a year and a half, 2 years ago, probably. When was it? April? A year and a half ago, I would say. I would leave that in. And so I would still leave that in now, but maybe later on I would remove it as it becomes less important. And so, guys, the last part of my resume was volunteering. So I just worked at I was a supervisor at a hospital in high school. And I supervise a group of young volunteers learn how to effectively establish, clarify, and communicate objectives. This is just a fancy way of saying I gave instructions to a bunch of teenagers. And yeah, I think I would include that there. I don't know if I'd leave that there these days because it was just so long ago. But, you know, at the time, anything that's kind of interesting and especially volunteer experience is a good thing to see. And so, yeah, I would definitely, I would remove that now at this point in my life. But if you're in university looking for an internship, I would definitely leave some kind of volunteer experience because, you know, it differentiates you. It shows that, you know, you're not just out here to work, but you're volunteering as well. And, you know, there's more to you than just this resume. And so I would definitely leave that. And one other thing that I would probably add to this is just something personal about me, you know, some things I enjoy. I don't know, people don't like that, but maybe one line, you know, at the top, just something to differentiate yourself. And one big question mark that I have for myself, and one thing I kind of don't like not seeing, is some side projects. I really think I should have included probably 1 or 2 side projects on this resume. And yeah, I think, guys, if you have no experience, you want to add as many side projects as you can, right? Basically, what I would do if I had no experience here and I was like a self-taught developer, I would put in all my side projects. I'd have 3 or 4 side projects here. And guys, like, it doesn't look that different. If you built a really complex side project and you had all this stuff here, it would look like a good resume and people would interview you. So don't knock side projects. If you have no work experience, they're that much more important for you. And so I would definitely have them there. Even if you do have work experience and you have a side project, I think having any kind of interesting, cool side project that is complex and that, you know, does something interesting really helps you, really will help you get a job, because not a lot of people have side projects. Not a lot of people spend time outside of their work day coding. And so if you can show that you genuinely have a passion, it'll definitely get the ball rolling. I think it'll get you an interview. It'll be something else to talk about during the interview, and it'll just lead to positive things. So I would definitely include side projects in your resumes, guys. And that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed me grilling my resume for a bit. Let me know if you guys like this type of content. I can review my current resume also, if that'll help, if you guys want to see that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think it's important. It's an important thing to, you know, constantly update your resume, just because as you grow as a developer, you know, you'll want to include different things, and you're going to not like different things on your resume. Like me, right? Looking back, you know, I'm seeing, wow, remove all this, make all these changes. So it's good to constantly update your resume and keep it fresh, especially if you're looking for a job, right? So guys, if you like the content, feel free to like and subscribe. Let me know if you want to see more interesting resume content. If there's anything you want to add to the conversation, feel free to leave a comment below if you think there's anything I missed, or just anything you want to add. And so I hope you guys found this video interesting and you learned something from it about building your resume. As always, guys, take it easy and enjoy your coding.